Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad Ahmed Qadri is here with your program Islam in the Contemporary World. For today's discussion, we are going to see what is the concept of community ethics. Naturally, community and ethics, they go all together. And community doesn't mean only specific areas. It is international community, international cultures, and we live in our regions with reference to our cultures, norms, relationship, and interaction with other people. For today's discussion, we have invited two important guests here who will be discussing about the same topic. The first guest belongs to social sciences as well as medical sciences. While I say social sciences, I mean he received some basic knowledge in social sciences and he will be discussing about culture. But his major field is about biological sciences. He is performing his duties at local University of Pakistan and he is Dean Faculty of Medicines. He is a renowned scholar and he's been teaching throughout the world. I mean, today's guest is Professor Dr. Peter Baillie. Dr. Peter Baillie, we welcome you in our program Islam in the Contemporary World.
Thank you for asking me.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Our second guest for the program is another eminent personality. He is a person who is in the world. He appears on television, not only in America, also in Pakistan and other medias of the world. He wrote so many books on culture and cultural relationship, Islam, and some other religions. He is Associate Dean of American University. I welcome in our program Professor Dr. Gholam Mujtaba. Professor Dr. Gholam Mujtaba, you're more than welcome here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So after a slight discussion and slight introduction of these two personalities, I would ask first question about what is meant by community ethics. Peter, you're here. You would be telling us about culture and cultural norms, please.
Yes, well, culture is the totality of a society, usually referred to in terms of countries and regions rather than individuals. And here I've only met with kindness. In fact, people here are more polite than they are in New York or London.
Yeah.
So the society here is a very well adapted society.
So you were brought up in UK and basically you're from Scotland. So do you see any resemblance between cultures of like Scottish culture or European culture and Islamic culture or some other cultures of the world?
Well, the answer to that is fairly simply. First of all, people are people throughout the world, and most of them get on with their fellow man. We live in a world, of course, which has got more complex, which seems focused on dictating differences between cultures and magnifying them.
So you think there are some reasons to have interaction between cultures?
Oh, I think it's absolutely essential.
So why, how do you place Islamic culture in the world?
Well, the first thing about it is you've got to start at the fundamentals. Man is the uncontrolled apex predator on the earth. Secondly, complexity is the new science that is overwhelming almost everything. If you think 100 years ago, all the people in the world equal the present-day population of India. And that has led to many cultural conflicts in the world.
Okay, so Professor Dr. Gholam Mujtaba, while we use term of community ethics, what do you think about that? Because you have seen America and you were brought up in Pakistan. So how do you see?
Dr. Qadri, the cultural values in any society may be different.
Okay.
And the culture and the value of its culture in Islamic society could be different than the Western Hemisphere. What we have here in an Islamic society is something that is known as halal and something that is known as haram.
Okay.
Something that is forbidden in our culture, something that is being allowed or encouraged in our culture. So what role in a society, in an Islamic society, Muslims have, what role Muslims have in the international community is to bring good to the people and take the evil out of the society.
Okay.
And that is the duty of each and every Muslim. And that should be the focal point of our cultural inheritance.
So
that is,
yeah,
yes.
Cultural heritage is most important, and cultural relationship is most important. You think that Islam, when it transformed its cultural norms throughout the world, and right out in America or the North American culture, it is being given importance there or not?
Absolutely, yes. Because if you look to Islam, and if you look to the growth of Islam in an American society, it is the fastest growing religion in the West and in the US. So
Professor Peter, I must ask you one thing. You must have seen different cultures.
Yes.
And with reference to Islamic culture and Islamic community, what did you observe? Is it helpful to promote humanity in the world?
I think at present it's going through change, so there's a wide spectrum of Islamic behavior, just as you found in the Christian world 600 years ago. Islam is, in the present world, adapting to the modern world, and the end result we don't know as yet. So there's a wide diversity, some of which is extremely helpful, other which is confrontational.
So how do you rate Islamic culture in the world? And naturally you must have studied some books about Islam.
Oh, yeah.
So did you find these books or Islamic culture interesting, or just?
Oh no, I think it's far more important than that. I think that we are just seeing the end stage of the individually based Christianity culture, and that has failed because of complexity, because none of the institutions of the state can deal with it.
You think in Christianity there are some complicated issues or something like?
No, I think the world is complicated.
Oh, okay.
And I think the end result, just as Islam was the end evolution of monotheism, I think that Western democracy must ultimately land up from the individually based culture that it is at present to the Ummah-based culture of Islam. I think that that is the only positive direction that the present complex world can move into positively.
So how, Professor Gholam Mujtaba, you see in America, how Muslims are working there, and how Islamic culture is approaching to other cultures?
So this is one of the major points that I think not only you, a lot of people in our society are looking forward to find out the real problem, because what we see is a conflict of cultures in the world today.
Okay.
It is not only the United States, it is the whole world. The Vatican held a conference, and that was held a few weeks earlier from today. That was attended by the Muslim scholars, the Jewish scholars, the rabbis, and the pastors. And what they found out is, in Iraq, the Christian population was 2.49% pre 9/11, and then after that the Christian population disseminated to 0.49%. The question was, where did this population disseminate? Where did this population go? What was found out is that the Christian population from the East and the Middle East is moving towards or migrating to the West. And the West, which used to be very friendly to the Muslim nations, is rather getting hostile towards Muslim nations. Hostile may be a tough word. Let's come to something softer than that.
How can we reduce this behavior?
Yes,
or minimize?
Yes, that's where we're coming. Now, if the Christian population disseminates from the Middle East and the Muslim population comes back from the West, what is going to happen? This is a total conflict, and
Yeah.
we should not go for that.
Yeah.
So we have to find a resolution to the problem in a global village where we live in a pluralistic society, in a society where Peter lives, you live, and I live. And we have to find ways in living together as a bigger nation in this global village.
So the universal approach of Islamic Ummah or Islamic concept for the community building is most important. That's why culture migrates from one place to another. So I think in America or North America or the Western world could be a model for intercultural communication.
Yes.
So dear viewers, we are talking about culture and community ethics. Naturally, we'll be continuing with our discussion, but we have to go for a short break. We'll be coming soon. Please stay with us. Dear viewers, welcome back in our program, Islam in the Contemporary World. We are discussing about community ethics. So, Peter, how do you see this world with reference to interaction between Muslim and non-Muslim world?
Well, it goes back a long time. If you look at the Magna Carta, for instance,
Yeah.
people forget that at that time, the biggest city in the world and the center of culture, education, everything, was Cordoba in Spain. And all the barbarians from Britain, Germany, France, Italy, and even Russia used to go there to be civilized and educated. So the concept of the Ummah is actually incorporated in the Magna Carta.
Oh, good. So, have you studied some books on Islam?
Oh, yes.
So, how do you find personality of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him?
Well, he was a very human man, and that I think is important in hagiography and making a saint out of people, in that he, as the ancient Persians said, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future, producing hope for mankind. And the fact that he changed at the age of 40 shows what individual humans and humanity as a whole are capable of doing.
So, when you referred Magna Carta
Yes.
of UK, so you think that the basic principles of Magna Carta of UK have been conceived from the last sermon of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
I think over the passage of time, yes, and that's why the future of the world lies in the Ummah or community, and that is why we are looking at the failure of the Western democratic idea of the individual. And so there must be further development along that line. Islam itself is going through adaptation to the more complicated world of today, as the Christians did 600 years ago. And as I've said, they killed off a lot more people.
Yeah. And Professor Gholam Mujtaba, what is your experience about Islamic culture in America, and how people are accepting that Islamic culture would work for the unity of humanity, and it may be, or certainly it is, a beautiful style of communication between cultures?